Take a look at this tape. Now, let's meet the man who had to climb out of the ghetto before he could climb into the cockpit of that plane. Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Drew Brown.
Number 2.
My name is Drew Brown.
Number 3.
My name is Drew Brown.
Only one of these people is the real Drew Brown, and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now let's meet our panel. Co-star of Murder, She Wrote, Ron Masak. Actress and cartoon voice, Dana Hill. Film and television producer, David Niven Jr. And to tell the truth's very own, Kitty Carlisle. Here's the host of To Tell the Truth, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, Burton. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. Whoever the real Drew Brown is, I want to fly with him. And I bet you will, too, when you hear the story. Let's get right to that first story, represented by these 3 gentlemen, all 3 of whom claim to be Drew Brown. I, Drew Brown, am a Top Gun. I was one of the first black Americans to join the Navy's elite corps of attack pilots. To achieve this status, I had to turn my life around. My father, Drew Bundini Brown, was Muhammad Ali's trainer, but my parents divorced when I was only 3. I grew up in the cycle of poverty, drug abuse, and gang violence that has laid waste to generation after generation of ghetto kids. It wasn't until I went to college that I realized I could no longer blame my failures on racism. My formula was simple. Education plus hard work minus drugs equals the American dream. In my autobiography, You've Got to Believe, I demonstrate how that formula worked for me. Today, my wife and I run an organization that inspires kids to achieve their goals. In America, with an education and the belief in yourself, you can achieve the American dream. Signed, Drew Brown. We'll find out more about this modern-day Horatio Alger right after this. All right, panel, these 3 people all claim to be Drew Brown, whose dream of becoming a Top Gun became a reality. And before you get to ask any questions, I have one request to make of the imposters on today's program. After the show, gentlemen, can I have the outfit, please? Kitty, we'll start with you.
I don't think you look as good in it as they do.
Oh, thanks. And I've been losing weight, yeah. Thank you, Ron. The shaft. Pull it out, pull it out. Start questioning, please.
Well, I'm thrilled to meet either whoever you are. Number 1, what was the major influence in your life?
Well, it was my mom and my dad. They loved me, and they knew I could be something.
And number 2, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Harlem,
And where in Harlem?
125th Street and Lenox Avenue.
Thank you. Number 3, what was the turning point in your life?
When my father died, the inspiration when I thought about what he had asked me to do, and that was to go to school and get an education.
And did you grow up in Harlem?
Yes, I did.
Number 2, did your father die when you were young, too?
My father didn't die when I was young. He died 3 years ago.
And number 1...
Oh, time's up for you. Let's go to David.
Okay, Top Gun number 1. Why does it say Dark Gable on that side of your outfit?
Well, we have code signs in the Navy, and well, you've heard of Clark Gable.
Yes. Got it. Okay. Number 2, what was your rank?
What is my present rank?
Yes.
Lieutenant.
Number 3, what planes did you fly in the Gulf?
A6 and 614.
And the top speed of a 614 is what?
If I told you, I would have to kill you. It's top secret.
Oh. Don't kill me, please.
Dana?
Number 2, where did you go to school and college, and what did you major in?
I went to college at Southern University and I majored in business.
And number 3, Your father was Ollie's trainer. Who was Ollie's manager?
Fudge.
Okay, and number one, do you have brothers and sisters, and what have they got? Have they also gone on to do amazing things like you have?
No, I'm an only child.
And number two, when you were in school, did you always know that you wanted to go into the Navy and become a Top Gun?
No, I didn't. Actually, when I was in college, I did not know what I wanted to do.
Okay, and...
Ron, I know you're a big sports fan, and I suspect that may be the direction your questioning takes us.
Well, a little bit of both. Let's surprise you first, Alex, and ask number one, what is the name of the Navy flying team, the precision team?
The Blue Angels.
Number two, do you agree that Eddie Futch was Ollie's manager?
Angelo Dundee was Ollie's manager.
Number one, when you were 3 years old, you said when your mom and dad got divorced, and you never tried drugs, you never, the rest of them said Harlem. Is that where you were raised?
Yes, sir.
And when did you graduate from college?
1977.
1977.
All right, time's up. Sounds as if we were getting into something really interesting there, Ron. Sorry you ran out of time, but our panelists will now have to vote for the man they think is the real Drew Brown, the Top Gun and motivator. Is it going to be a vote for number one, a vote for number two, or a vote for number three? Our team of challengers will receive $500 for each incorrect vote with a guarantee of $1,000. And if our panel is fooled completely, the team receives $3,000. Kitty, we'll start with you.
Well, they were all terribly good, and it's hard for me to say. I didn't know who Ollie's manager was, but number one is so good looking. I had to vote for him.
Number one, because of looks. Let's go to David.
I was going to vote for number three, but he terrified me so much when he threatened to kill me, so I figured I'd rather he wins $500 by my not voting for him. So I voted for number two, because number two knew that Angelo Dundee was Ollie's man.
All righty, Dana.
Well, they were all wonderful, and once again, I'm completely stumped, so it's a shot in the dark, and David, I agreed with you with number two.
Ron?
Well, I eliminated number three because I didn't want him to kill David, and Eddie Futch was not his manager. Number two had all the answers right on the button, but for one brief second, he hesitated on where 125th and Lenox Avenue was in Harlem, and I loved number one's answer about the Dark Gable, so I went with number one.
All righty. Let's review the votes, and we have 2 votes in for number one, 2 votes for number two, and no votes for number three. All right, it's time now to find out who the real Top Gun is. Will the real Drew Brown please stand up? And it is number one. Welcome, Drew.
Thank you very much.
I don't know who the real person is when I come out to host these programs, ladies and gentlemen, but I had a feeling that Drew looked a lot like his dad. Am I correct?
Yes, sir, you are.
Did your father originate that expression, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, or did Muhammad come up with that himself?
That was my dad. He motivated Ollie for 25 years, and now I'm trying to do that to these kids.
Well, I hope you succeed. Good for you. Yes,
Thank
indeed.
you. I have something to give you, Alex.
Oh, yes?
Yes, you know, I go around the country saying that I'm bad, and I say I'm bad because I have a college education. Well, I'm not the only one in this country who's bad. For what you've done for these kids through Jeopardy and the education that you've made number one, I want to present you with something.
Uh-oh. Hello.
Whoa! Pick up.
All right.
Alex,
Hey.
Alex, with the power invested in me, I now officially make you bad.
All right. I'm bad. Thank you, Drew. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's meet our imposters. Number two, you earned 2 votes. Who are you, please?
I'm Mike Taylor, and I do public relations for the Los Angeles Raiders.
Well, now. And now we go to mean number 3, who threatened David.
My name is Bill Daniels. I'm the building manager at Mark Goodson Productions.
The building manager. How about that? An in-house deal. All right, there were 2 incorrect votes at $500 each, and that means the team will receive $1,000. Gentlemen, thank you all so much for being with us today on To Tell the Truth. We'll be back with a woman who will show you what her headache, yes, really looks like after this.
My kids call.
What a headache looks like. But first, let's meet our next team of challengers.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Louise Woodard.
Number 2.
My name is Louise Woodard.
Number 3.
My name is Louise Woodard.
All right, panelists, here is Louise's affidavit. I, Louise Woodard, suffer migraine headaches. If you have no idea how it feels, my painting entitled Violent Passages represents my pain. It won first prize in the Migraine Masterpieces art exhibit, sponsored by the National Headache Foundation. It's a time-lapse painting that depicts the stages of my headaches. The eye is dominant because that's where my pain is the most intense, while my hands are shown clutching my head to alleviate the pain. The intense reds, blues, and yellows are the colors I usually see, and the numbers 2 and 5 express the confusion my headaches bring. The pills are what finally bring my painful journey to an end. Migraines can be caused by heredity, hormonal changes, oversleeping, even foods. I don't know the cause of mine, but I do know I've suffered from them for more than 20 years, and I can assure you they are no laughing matter. Signed, Louise Woodard. Such a pain, Ron, such a pain. And
yes.
You get to help us
Well, I sympathize with them because my wife, Kay, has suffered with headaches ever since we've been married, and I think I'm the cause of those. Number one, you said even foods. Did your doctor tell you about this, or even foods can cause migraine? What kind of foods cause migraines?
Well, I've heard that chocolate and MSG do.
Number two, oversleeping. I had never heard that before. That can cause migraines as well?
Yes.
And number three, what kind of pills are they recommending that you take?
Fiorinol, Demerol shots, Darvocet 100.
Now, number two, it said you for 20 years. These just came on 20 years ago suddenly?
I've had them at least 20 years, yes.
At least 20 years.
Dana.
Number one, have you ever tried any alternative forms of medicine to try and help you with this problem?
Well, I take K-Lan SR in the mornings, supposedly to help vascular circulation.
And number two, do you have children? And if you do, are they affected by migraine headaches?
I have children, but they have no migraines.
And number three, the intense reds, blues, and yellows are the colors I actually see. What do you mean by that?
That's orally what I see. I see auras when I get a headache. So those are the colors that I see around people, around things, and objects.
Oh, okay.
David.
Thank you. Number one, where was this Migraine Masterpiece art exhibit?
It was in New York City.
And what was the first prize?
First prize was $4,000.
Oh, very nice. Number two, as a matter of fact, what does the 2 and 5 really mean in your painting?
I think because the 2 and the 5, if they're turned upside down and backwards, they are similar shapes.
Number three, I'm sure you're not going to buy that answer. What would your answer be?
That's the length of time my headaches take. They can run 2 to 5 days.
2 to 5 days?
Days. Whoa.
Oh.
Kitty.
Number three, have you ever tried biofeedback?
Yes, I'm currently involved in a biofeedback program.
Does it work?
Yes, it's working for me.
Uh-huh. And number two, do you try biofeedback too?
No, I haven't.
You haven't tried it.
I haven't tried it.
Number one, do you have to go to bed when this happens?
Yes, many times I do.
And number two, do you feel nausea as well?
Yes.
Number one, is wheat something you shouldn't eat, or corn? I don't know. You don't know anything about that?
All right. Well, I'm stumped. I can't figure out who the real migraine-suffering woman is, but it's not up to me. It's up to our panel, and you have to vote right now for number one, number two, or number three. And judging by the smiles on the faces of our challengers today, I don't think any of our ladies is suffering from a migraine at this moment. Ron, who did you vote for?
Well, I got a little confused. I mean, I eliminated number three because I figured the staff is going to put her in all these colorful outfits, things to match the painting. Number one just confused me because something about the foods, and then she already said earlier, chocolate can cause these. And I bought the 2 and the 5, number two, so I hope I'm right.
All right, a vote for number two as we go to Dana.
I thought they were all extreme. I've got a migraine trying to figure out who it is, so I went with number three.
Well,
David?
Ron gives me a migraine, I must say.
On purpose.
I thought it was number three because number three just rattled off 3 different pills and things like that she takes for migraine, so I shall remember that the next time I get one.
All right, and Kitty?
Number one said chocolate, which is true, but I'm told wheat as well. And number two said that this was 2 to 5, the 2-5 was something turned around. But number three knew about biofeedback, and I know that's one of the ways to cure it. Well, she's nodding to me. That means she's the wrong one, but we don't know that for sure. We don't know that for sure.
Let's find out. Let's review the voting. First of all, no votes for number 1, 1 vote for number 2, and 3 votes for number 3. And I'm sure migraine headaches are caused by different things for different people. We'll find out about that in a moment. Right now, let's find out who painted this migraine masterpiece. Will the real Louise Woodard please stand up? It is number 2. 20 years of suffering from migraine headaches. Now, number 3 was talking about seeing auras, colored auras around people. Is that the way your migraine affects you, Louise?
Yes, yes.
And
there is an aura around objects.
have we come up with a cure for migraine?
No, there's, I think the latest is the biofeedback treatment. But I think they're still trying.
Yeah, whatever works, works, right?
Right.
All right. Let's find out about our imposters. Number 1?
My name is Jenny Starr. I'm a legal secretary and a student at Pierce College.
Good for you. Number 3, you were very convincing.
My name is Wendy Bowers, and I book speakers for a lecture bureau.
3 incorrect votes is $500 apiece, and that means $1,500 for the team. And thank you all for being with us today on To Tell the Truth. We'll be back to play one-on-one with somebody from the studio audience right after this.
Relief goes on faster.
All right, let's play one-on-one with someone from our studio audience. Who is it today, Burton?
Well, Alex, today we have Mr. Ken Cassell from Lapeer, Michigan.
Welcome to California, Ken.
Well, welcome to you.
Here's
Thank
a
you,
chance
Alex.
for you to add to the enjoyment of your vacation here by winning $500 in cash. Let me introduce a gentleman with 2 stories to tell. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Myron Belkin. Ken, Myron's going to tell us 2 stories, only one of which happens to be the truth. If you spot the true story, you win $500. Myron, your first story, please.
Okay. I'm an orthodontist. Recently, I made a brace for a bird's beak.
I see. It may or may not be the truth, as you know. Ken, let's listen to his second story.
I donated 100,000 Bibles to our troops in the Gulf. They all had bulletproof covers.
All right, let's go to work at helping Ken win the $500. Kitty.
Mr. Belkin, why did you make a brace for...
The bird did not bite properly.
His bite was off.
Correct.
What did this cost then?
This cost them, for my services, was nothing.
Dana?
How sweet.
What was the brace made out of?
The brace was made out of plastic and metal.
Ron.
What kind of a bird was it?
A cockatoo.
All right. So much for the questioning on that story. Now, to story number 2, that this gentleman sent 100,000 Bibles to our troops in the Middle East. Kitty?
That's a wonderful thing to do. Did they save lives?
I hope they did.
More important, did they save souls? David?
What edition of the Bible was it?
It was the King James, and also, it was both the New Testament and the Old Testament. There was both of them.
Dana?
How did you get them all shipped over there?
That was really the major problem. We had negotiations with the Department of Defense and also the Department of State, and eventually the U.S. government shipped them over.
Ron?
Will there be Bibles for the other 400,000 who come back?
I hope so.
All right, so much for our questioning. You've heard the cross-examination, Ken. You tell us for $500 in cash. Did Myron make a brace for a bird, or did he donate 100,000 Bibles?
Well, I think that the Bible story was a little unbelievable, and therefore I vote for the brace.
You found that to be a believable story.
Yes.
That the man made a brace for a bird. All right, Myron Belkin.
Better than some.
What is your true story?
To tell the truth, I made a brace for a bird.
How about that? Congratulations. That's $500 in cash for you. And now, Myron has brought us a sample. He's got a bird, and he has a brace also. Show us that. Now, you said to the questions asked by our panel that you made the first brace because the bird had trouble biting. What was it, an underbite, overbite?
This is a cockatoo, and this is the way a cockatoo would normally bite, with the top beak over the bottom beak.
Right.
The bird that we treated bit the other way, with the bottom beak coming outside of the top beak.
Here's a photo of that right now.
Yeah.
And with the brace applied?
Well, therefore, it could not chew nuts. It had to be fed by hand.
Mm-hmm.
And the brace was placed on the upper, and it was designed to enlarge the upper beak.
Well, how long did the bird have to wear the brace before the beak overbite problem was corrected?
I don't know how long the bird would have to wear it because I don't believe this has ever been done before. I did it with a colleague, a veterinarian, and we don't think this had ever been done before. The interesting thing is that this appliance was on the bird for about a total of 15 seconds before the bird just bit down and smashed it.
So much for prosthetics.
Right. And this is a newly redesigned appliance that does not have plastic on the tip of the beak.
All right, so there is hope, ladies and gentlemen. If your bird has a biting problem, have him come and see Myron. Thank you very much for being with us today on To Tell the Truth. We're coming back after this.
Thank you.
Don't go. Tell the truth.
This is Burton Richardson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson television production.